All right, welcome everyone. So this is a webinar with iMovo. Really glad that you guys can join us today for empowering product managers with Salesforce. And this partnership with iMovo also means that you can bring your problems to iMovo, and that's really something new. So we want to make this session as interactive as possible. That's why we have invited two amazing people. One of them I have the pleasure to know for many years, over 10 years now, maybe more. Bashara Inawi is a sales consultant on CRM at iMovo. He's going to be also with one of the other guests, Mateus Baeta. And Mateus is a business developer for iMovo. And I'm Andrea Marquis. I'm your host for the session. So today's session is, let me just remind you, it's about empowering product managers with Salesforce. Before we actually start with the webinar, let me give you some rules of the house. Make sure you invest in yourself. So please turn off your phone or laptop notifications so you can join us anytime you want and you don't get interrupted by other events of the day. Confirm that your microphone and camera are working and that you can join us. And if possible, please turn on your webcam. That makes the conversation much more vivid and interesting. And make sure, hi Tiago, welcome. Make sure you identify yourself with the first and last name. For instance, my name, Andre Marquis, Bashara Inawi. For some reason, there is no space between your name and surname, but I guess everybody knows your name by now. So we will also have some time for Q&A at the end. So if you have some burning questions that you want to do, please by all means do them, or you can just use the chat to do that as well. And I'll try to moderate a little bit. If you, for some reason, want to have some kind of development that will take much more time, or a practical case for your company or your own project, we'll have some time at the end. So let's save it for that. All right, so with no further ado, let me pass on here the baton to Mateus. So Mateus, I will stop sharing my presentation and I will invite you to share your own presentation. That will be the basis of this webinar. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Andre. Thank you everybody for joining. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. I can see some faces. Hello. So just if you can move to the next slide, Bash. Thank you. So, I mean, what is the actual point of this webinar? And, you know, when we were thinking about the actual topics that we wanted to address is, you know, like that Dave Chappelle meme, modern problems require modern solutions. Our idea was to marry what, you know, are usually key challenges for product managers and how can we help addressing these challenges, either through this suite of solutions that we offer as part of what we do at iMovo, as well as with our collective experience. So over the course of this webinar, we'll be touching on some of these points, and I would invite you all to also share a couple of your questions as well, share your views on what we were going to be discussing. And you know, if you have any other questions at the end of the webinar that, for instance, we did not touch upon, you will have our contacts, myself and Bashara's, and you know, feel more than free to reach out to us and talk to us. We'll be happy to help. Bashara, if you can. Thank you. So as far as the structure of the overall webinar, first and foremost, thank you very much, Andre. It's a pleasure working together with Productized. Thank you for your introduction. What I'll be touching upon are, you know, what are the usual common product management challenges and challenges for product managers themselves, as well as, you know, who are we at iMovo and what we do. My colleague will be then solving these challenges, and then at the end, I would ask you to all stay until the end. We have a surprise for you and our contact information as well, so that we can keep in touch. Mashara, if you can, thank you. So, I cut these main challenges into 3 different sections. One of them being efficiency, the second one being analytics and communication. Interestingly enough, most of them are actually intertwined in some way or another. As far as efficiency goes, one of the key areas where we have checked is how do you assess the value of each task that you are executing? So how do you lower the impact of time constraints? How long, for example, will you take to accomplish a task? Does that need to be prioritized or not? Or can someone else do this effectively for you, for instance? Yeah. One of the things that we've learned on our side is that timesheets, for instance, they allow you to understand better how time is used. And it also gives you better insights into how to proper prioritize your tasks. Usually there is a bad connotation to timesheets as control, right? But, I would invite you to look at it at a micro scale, not in terms of individual control, but for instance, if you want to look at your processes and to see if your processes are efficient or not, if you have a colleague or teammate or even an entire department that is usually caught up in internal tasks rather than executing the tasks that allow your company to perform, your sales to go up, your marketing department to actually prepare what needs to be prepared for events or content, then you probably have a problem with your processes and they need to be reviewed or remade. And usually that kind of analysis gives you a clear indicator where people are spending their time and where things could be prioritized, improved, or where you are spending your time well. As far as taking control of product management, product managers usually very rarely start with a clean slate. You're usually, airdropped into a situation that has already begun, it's already in motion, and it has its own momentum, right? So you need visibility. After all, you're in charge of the company's idea management process, and which ideas should be promoted to your backlog in order to propel your product management strategy forward. If you start executing without taking time to get proper vision, most likely you commit bad decisions. So one of the things is you need to own vision, whether it's on your marketing, on your sales, on your ROI, because after all, what the hell does a product manager do? I'd say at its core, a product manager helps the rest of the company understand the value of a product or a set of products. So in terms of owning vision and having clear visibility and looking at your internal procedures, analytics are key. Okay, you need metrics, you need KPIs, that allow you to properly identify what's working, what's not. Who are your customers, who should be talking to, what is the ideal customer profile, and so on. So, finding your true north and then being able to measure it is quite important. Who are the users, the customers, why do they use or buy your products? And why is this important? Do product managers need data analytics? I'd say yes. Product managers, they do need data analytics. In fact, it's one of the most basic responsibilities of a typical product manager. With the help of analytics, good analytics, by the way, product managers can get valuable intelligence. And at the end of the day, empowering the whole product management decision-making and their processes. There are hundreds of metrics that we can think of. I can think of from the top of my head: customer acquisition costs, churn rate, session duration, monthly recurring revenue, customer lifetime value, for instance. And they're not the same across the whole board. So different companies will have different metrics. There will be different information which is key for each different institution. What you, in my opinion, usually would be benefiting on having is to have good consumable dashboards. So having dashboards which are well built and allow you to instantly have access to this information and give access to this information to others. Self-service analytics are quite important to give proper visibility to others as well, so that the decision-making process is clear across the board. That way you can identify and articulate businesses' problems in a concise and cohesive manner. It doesn't mean, like I said before, that everybody will do everything the same way. Most importantly, I'd say choosing your own main KPIs, your own metrics, and focusing on what actually reflects your reality is key. Aligning then user and product and your goals is also a priority thing to have in mind. And lastly, also focusing on average indexes rather than just total numbers is quite a useful place to begin with. Shut up. Thank you. So lastly, in terms of communications, I'd say, across business altogether, communication is key, right? Communication is very important. Good, clear communication, be it with your colleagues, with your management, or even with your customers, is very important. For a product manager, ensuring that your team is set up for success is a key, especially when teams are distributed, as we are now, most of us at home. You do really need good communication and good communication procedures. Clear, consistent communication is necessary to ensure that everybody is aligned. Setting priorities with your communications is very much important. And for that, one thing that we have been working together with for quite some time already, and it does allow you to have the level of clarity and visibility across the board, and you can communicate correct, is through, for example, Slack. To have a communication strategy, number one, is key. Then a good solution that allows you to implement this communication strategy is quite important. You need to share a lot of data. Data transparency needs to be a thing. So if that's not your case, then it might be that you need to have a couple of difficult conversations internally. But data sharing, such as having, for instance, a data repository, having self-service analytics, like I said before, or even at least well-structured and well-integrated communication solution, are must. And the efficiency you gain from having such a thing are worth the effort by lots. A little bit on iMovo and what we do. So we are a consulting company. We were founded in 2010. We come from Malta. However, we operate across all of the European Union. We have also some customers in North Africa and in the Middle East. Our goal, to put it very shortly, is to accelerate business digitalization or the digital transformation processes across businesses. We've been working throughout this whole period across multiple different industries, from retail to finance industry to the gaming sector, with the same goal. So to allow companies to have faster processes, more efficient processes, and to empower companies' personnel to be able to outperform and increase their effectiveness. If you want to know more about us, please stay until the end. You have access to our contact information, and there's a little surprise for each and every one of you at the end if you want to talk to iMovo about what your company or your department is going through. So with that, thank you very much. I hope to hear from you soon.
Great. Thank you very much, Mateus. So my part, actually, in regards to this webinar is to talk a little bit about Salesforce, the solutions it can provide, just to jiggle your brain and make sure that you understand a little bit more about what are the options that you can do with Salesforce. So Salesforce started, at least the way that I knew it, I started working with Salesforce as a sales management tool. And that is, from what I hear from potential customers, they think that it's still in that area, or only sales management tools. Salesforce nowadays is a platform, is a fully robust platform, and has many solutions. I would like to share just one story with you. Once I used to work in a large company. I used to be an account manager, and whenever a partner, a customer called, I needed to access around 5 to 6 different databases and different platforms in order to be able to get enough information about that partner in order to be able to serve him. So what I did is, being a programmer, and I was a programmer in my young and lovely life, I built a kind of a tool that I called it an account manager workspace, which brings everything, all the data together in order for me to be able to, in one glance, understand where the customer is, what he bought previously, what certifications he has, and enabled me to provide immediate response to these customers. Actually, from looking backwards, I believe that within 2 or 3 hours of my day, I was able to finish all my tasks, rather than my colleagues, which needed the whole 8 hours in order to do that. So this is a very simple and small example of improving efficiency and how it helps in businesses. So looking a little bit about Salesforce. So Salesforce currently is a platform as a service, and there are many tools out there, which is a software as a service. And the difference between these two is that a software as a service is actually a packaged way of working that will help you within your business, but it has already standardized processes within the way that you interact with it. Rather than platform as a service, it provides you the platform in order to be able to customize it and to make it adapt to the way that you work. This here is a small list of basically solutions that Salesforce provides: sales, service, marketing, commerce, analytics. I will just touch point on the main ones that every business needs or might need, which is starting from the marketing. So marketing in Salesforce, it's called a package. It's called Marketing Cloud, and what it allows you, it gives you lots of possibilities. One of the possibilities is it allows you to create a journey for each customer, and it's customized to the way that the profile of each customer. It helps you onboard the customer in different ways. Another add-on would be it's called Email Studio. Email Studio is basically a campaign builder where you can create campaigns, automate campaigns. Another one is Social Studio, which allows you to manage all your social media network from one view. On top of that, there are more, such as Mobile Studio or Advertising Studio, which helps you manage all your advertising budget, whether it is AdWords or in social media. Now, when we look at marketing, there are 2 different components, and I will rush through all of this, but please feel free to, put in the chat any questions, and I would really love to understand a little bit more about what interests you and how we can respond to that. So going back to the marketing, there are 2 main components in Salesforce. One of them is called Marketing Cloud. Another one is called Pardot. Marketing Cloud is more adapted to B2C, okay? while Pardot is more adapted to B2B. It is more packaged, it is more customized for B2B approach. Next, we have the Sales Cloud. Sales Cloud, as Salesforce started actually, is lead management, opportunity management. It allows you to do forecasting. It allows you to do tons of automation. If it is validation throughout the process, if you need authorization form for specific deals, it does it automatically. And if you want also to use it on the go, we also have the mobile app that will help you do that. Next, looking at commerce. So commerce is a tool that allows you to create an e-commerce website using drag and drop. But one of its powers is actually fully integrated into Salesforce, which allows you to connect to Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and it also has an additional component, which is an AI component. As you see at the bottom, it's called Einstein, where it also can provide recommendations to customers. It can even sort the products within your e-commerce website in a way that is adapted to each and every customer. It also can allow the customer, when they do a search, it provides them some suggestions for the search, which is called predictive search. Next one is a service. So service is it's a support ticketing system. We call it case management. Basically, it allows your customers to submit support tickets to your company. It also has a knowledge base, which allows the customers to a self-service platform where they are able to search for answers by themselves and get to the information they need without needing to bother anybody else. It also has a capability for chatbots, and as every part of Salesforce, it has the automation vertical on it. On top of that, what is very powerful actually about Service Cloud is that within one screen, you are able to manage all your routing channels. For example, if somebody calls in, you manage it from that same view. If there is a chat request, you manage it from that same view. If there is an email that comes in, if there is an interaction within your website, everything is managed from one place. And looking at the lower layer, we have here Slack. I'm guessing that most of you know what Slack is. If somebody doesn't know, please raise your hand. It's a communication tool that was bought by Salesforce and now is fully integrated in Salesforce. There's Einstein artificial intelligence component, and there is also analytics, which is Tableau, which is a data visualizing tool that is also fully integrated with Salesforce. If you have any questions, feel free. Just, I think you can lift your hand. Is that correct, Andre? Can you lift your hand in this? Okay, great.
Yeah, people can raise their hands if they want.
Great. So next, I will go into some examples, okay? As I mentioned earlier, platform as a service, what makes it also more robust is that Salesforce is API first. API is the channel that one software can communicate with another software. So for example, if you want to integrate Salesforce within the ERP of your company, you're able to do it as long as there is an API communication. Here we have some examples of automation. For example, automating leads and tickets. A person goes onto your website and fills in the form. You can either redirect him to a ticket, which is if he's a current customer, or you can create a lead. You can automate customer onboarding. If one of your tools, for example, is a software as a service and you want to monitor activity on your website, you will be able to detect specific behavior and then action on it, whether it is a series of emails that you want to send in, or some kind of instructions on how to use your platform, and so on. You can automate customer feedback. You can automate lead scoring according to activity on either your website or activity on email marketing campaigns, and also you can automate different user reports, which can detect activities of different users. But there is also other components that are very important in Salesforce. For example, authentication. Now, nowadays I guess that some of us have already experienced when going onto a new platform, and instead of asking you to create a new username and password, it asks you to enter with your LinkedIn account, for example. And this is called social sign-on. Salesforce provides this either as a separate tool, or you can purchase Salesforce platform and add the authentication part to it. The last that I want to talk about is IoT triggers. Now, IoT triggers can be in numerous stuff. One simple example, you can use IoT, for example, let's say in production, where you can put let's say a microphone on top of a machine that is working, and if the noise increases, let's say over 50 decibels or 60 decibels, then you can automatically create a case that creates a ticket inside Salesforce and sends a maintenance person to fix that problem. This is merely one simple case that could be used, but there are thousands and thousands of cases that can be used with IoT. Next, I will go to some examples. The first one is an automation flow, just for me to provide you a little bit of visual aspect to that. So this automation flow can be used in different ways. One way you can use it for either it can be used for let's say email marketing or onboarding process. This actually starts with a trigger. Okay, so a trigger can be a person registering on your website, or a person opening an email, or any other trigger that you might find, where it actions an email which is sent to the customer. If the customer does not open it, then it reduces the score of that person and it closes the process. If that person opens the email, then it increases the scores, and then after a couple of days, it automatically sends another email and then checks the activity, and in the end, you can either validate or unvalidate it, whether it is a lead that you want to do automatic validation or any other email campaign that you want to work with. The next example is timesheets, and timesheets is just a small example of a simple solution that we are also using at iMovo. Okay, and Mateos also mentioned it in the beginning, how timesheets is important, but it's very simple to create these kinds of let's say views that will bring you to maybe specific reports that you will need for your company. In this case, we have support different types, where support contract, internal marketing project, or sales. And the next step would be actually inserting the description, selecting which project you are working on, putting in the number of hours, and then saving it. And eventually, what happens is you will have a report. In this case, this report is divided into the higher level, which is internal marketing, but for example, product managers, this could be divided into specific projects. So one example could be that your company is working on 3 different projects, and you want the healthiest thing to do is to have your team divided equally into these projects. And then when the end of the month comes, you see that one project is taking 80 or 90% of your time, while the others is taking another 10 or 5%, you might either decide to allocate resources differently, or you might look deeper into it and find what the problem is and go for a solution. And the last example that I want to share is about Slack. So as all of you know, Slack is a communication tool. It's, where you can communicate by messages or by voice or even video lately. So what Slack can do integrated into Salesforce is much more than that. So for example, you're talking to one of your colleagues, okay? And you're talking about a specific case of a customer complaining about one of the services. While you're in the chat on Slack, you're able to bring up that case and discuss the case internally. So in this example that I'm showing here on the right side, I don't know if you can see my mouse, is I just put a /, typed in Salesforce and typed in my name, Bashara. The result came back that there is in Salesforce one user with the name Bashara, and you can, when I click on the user, I will see my record. Okay, so you can search and share accounts, cases, contacts, leads, opportunities, tasks, and custom objects. For example, like the timesheets that I mentioned before, timesheet is a custom object that we built. You can also query that and bring it up during the conversation within Slack. The next thing with Slack is you can also put in alerts if you want to monitor a specific customer, if you want to monitor specific activities, you can have it in Slack. So for example, you want an alert every time an opportunity is created, you can put it in a specific channel, and then you can be alerted on that. Monica, you raised your hand.
Yes, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have worked with Salesforce in my previous company, but we didn't have a Slack integrated. We were working with Outlook. I understand that Slack gives more flexibility, or what is the difference between having a Slack or having Outlook?
Yes.
Because I didn't know Slack at the time.
Okay, so personally, I do have Slack and Outlook integrations. Okay, so these are two different functionalities. If you look at the Outlook integration, what you can do with it is you can also, like I mentioned before, you can search and add tasks and add emails to specific accounts or contacts, right? But it is not when you use Outlook, you are not communicating live with your other end, right? So when you communicate live with your colleague, which is in, let's say, which is a salesperson, for example, right? You are in the action of communicating with them. You bring up the account or whatever you're talking about on the spot and work on it together in order to close that conversation on the spot. Okay. Does that answer your question, Martha?
I was thinking that the thing is we had Outlook, was not immediately connected. And then we have like a messenger system, which maybe is from Microsoft, I don't remember. So it was a kind of not very efficient. And I've listened to you now, like how you can do it more efficient indeed, because we had things coming with Outlook, but then you have to copy paste this in the other communication system. And yeah, there were not a direct interaction. So I'm listening to you, and I'm very interested in to see that, yeah, that the companies, because they have Outlook, maybe they don't buy the whole package, or it's because they have their own system from Microsoft eventually. I don't know.
You know,
Yes,
if I may add, Monica, you know, one of the advantages as well is that, you know, with Outlook, you're pushing information onto Salesforce, right? So that, like Bashara has mentioned, you have, for example, a salesperson, they're communicating with a lead, with a prospect, and that information goes over to Salesforce, and you can consult that information at a later stage, for instance, for documenting and timekeeping. But with Slack, you can push information from Salesforce onto Slack. You can verify, you can check stuff on the go without having to open Salesforce directly, for instance. It gives you two-way communication rather than just one way. Yeah. If you need to open up something on Salesforce, also via Slack, you have access to a link, you open up directly where you want to do whatever you want to do, or to make changes, to add information, other than just pushing information from one app to Salesforce. The flexibility, like you said, and your suspicion was correct, is higher with Salesforce.
We just to close this question, we were using, and I thought it was a bit slow, downloading the data into Excel, and we had some metrics, and I thought it was a bit slow and complicated, but maybe it's because we had not a very instant system to extract the data.
Monica, there is a rule of thumb that I learned. Whenever you're using Excel, something is wrong. Okay. So,
But there is still a lot of companies that do export all this data in
Yeah.
Excel, and then you have to work with Excel. I don't have anything against Excel, but it's very heavy as well.
Excel is an amazing tool. It does lots of things. However, whenever you're working with Excel, there's something that you can improve. That's what I learned throughout all of my career. Okay.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Going to the next, the last, addition that I want to talk about in Slack is that the integration with Tableau, for example, you can, for example, in this question, Alwyn is asking what are the shipping times by region, and with this question, Slack will bring back, a graph and allow him to either filter or add different types of shipping. So there's lots and lots that you can do with Slack, and I believe that the Slack integration with Salesforce is a very good marriage. Okay. Now there is a very sensitive question that people are always afraid of is, okay, but Salesforce is expensive, right? Now, I had this conversation with several times with the potential customers, and when we go deeper and try to analyze, the return on investment for them, we found out that it is much more worth it going with Salesforce rather than not going. So this is actually a real example. I cannot say who it is, but this is an example of a migration from another SaaS solution to Salesforce. Okay, and since I respect all SaaS solutions, I will not mention the name also. Okay. However, when you Salesforce has lots and lots of data and surveys, understanding about customers that have moved from different platforms to theirs, and what they found out within the migration from that specific platform to Salesforce is that usually the transition allows them to grow around 31% on the leads, around 30% on the conversion, and around 20% on win rate. So if we take one example, which is a company that has around 700 leads, they have a 40% conversion, which brings you to 290 opportunities. From that, there is a 12.5% win rate, which brings them to 35 deals, and an average deal size of 7.5. It brings you to a turnover of around 3 million, okay, for the total 12 months. Now, taking the standard growth and adding the percentage of what the value to bring into the migration, we're looking at around 917 leads, but in total turnover of 6 million. Now, people will say, okay, so these are standard, and I don't really believe 30% increase. So we usually also go on a conservative path. Okay, so the conservative path is, instead of taking 31% increase In leads, we take only 6% increase in leads. We take only 10% increase in conversion, and we take only 10% increase in win rate. This brings us back to a 4 million turnover. Now, the question goes back to the company. Having another 1 million euros turnover, is that good enough for you or not? And of course, for that company, it made a whole difference because the profit margin was around the 75% profit. It was very beneficial, and I believe you have some hands on. Tiago, go ahead, my friend.
Thanks, Bashar. Just a quick question. How do you see the increase of the win rate using Salesforce?
How do you see the increase of the win rate? You're talking about the 20% here?
Well, any percentage of a win rate just using the tool.
So this is a comparison of from the previous tool to the current tool, okay? And you see that from the 290 opportunities, right? You managed to make 35 deals, okay? Close 35 deals. But when we're talking about the migration from that to Salesforce, the reports show that there is an increase of 15%, okay? Which is 20% increase from the 12.5 to the 15. Does that answer your question, Tiago?
Well, yeah. The question was more about how can you do that? Is it with better qualifying your leads, or how can we increase the win rate using the tool? That was the question.
Okay, so we're talking about when I started the session, I started about talking about centralization, about having full visibility on your customer journey, full visibility on all aspects of your customer, in order for you to make better decisions and convince your customer to close the deal, right? And this all falls back into having this visibility and centralization. Okay, so the better information you have, the more structured, the more visible it is for you and also for your team, will increase win rate automatically. Okay, so this number, the 20%, is a number that is taken from surveys and from actual customers that migrated from different tools to Salesforce. Okay, does that answer your question, Mathieu?
Yeah, I think that relates with probably better qualifying in terms of understanding the further understand of your clients, or in this case of your leads, makes your win rate higher through that. Thanks.
There's a thing that that Salesforce likes to use a lot. Yeah, it is customer 360, right? It's precisely that, when you can actually have a full overview on the communication and the interactions that you end up having with your customers, right? If you can have a clear, and it keeps coming back to the beginning of the discussion, clarity and visibility and so on, is if you have a better overview on how your customer is interacting with your brand, with your company, how are they actually reaching out to you through which channels, and you can actually act upon that, yeah, your win rate goes up because you're simply more efficient at handling your customer, yeah, your customer or even prospect customers, right? If the answers are actionable, your efficiency simply goes up.
Yeah. So I will just close this by talking a little bit about metrics, also from surveys that has been done. Overall metrics for customer success, we are talking here about an increase of 29% faster decision making, 30% collaboration, response, and resolution time. If we're talking about the IT or tech leaders, we're talking about 30% increase in developer productivity. We're talking about 30% faster application deployment, 31% increase in agility, and 27% decrease in IT costs. Now, the question is, why would you use a Salesforce partner, or why iMovo to do the implementation and to help you? So first of all, when we talk about, I will talk about iMovo, I will not talk about our competitors, but iMovo, we have a large team that is certified, and they are experts in CRM and BI and data management, customer experience, optimization and automation. We have repeatedly become the trusted advisors of our customers. We have excellent support services. We have also support packages that we're able to provide. We have an agile development methodology, and we are official partners of Salesforce, Tableau, Talent, UiPath, and Zendesk. And the power of being official partners is doublefold. One aspect is that we know exactly what is needed for each solution, and on top of that, we are able to use our contacts within these companies in order to leverage and help you close the best deal possible. Okay, and as Mateus mentioned in the beginning, so we have also partnered with Productized, and we provide a perk for all the attendees and also all of Productized community by using the promo code PRODIMOVO 2022. What we provide is a 15% discount on implementation services. We provide a one-time free mentoring consultation. We provide you free invitations to our webinars, and if eventually we manage to create a project with you and do it from beginning to end, we also have the ability to promote your business within our community using success stories. You have our contacts here, Mateus and mine. I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to reach out whenever you need. I will hand it back to Andre for the Q&A. Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bashara. Congratulations for the presentation, and also to Mateus. So I guess we might have some questions from the audience in terms of their own questions and how their internal companies work and what these guys are doing. One question that crossed my mind, of course, is pricing. Okay, so when companies are working with integrators or service providers like yourself, like iMovo, and on top of that, they end up having to pay for a software as a service. What's really the pricing structure? So are they paying a implementation fee to you, and then they just keep on paying the software as a service to, in this case, Salesforce? Is that correct, or is there another business model here?
So yes, that is correct. Actually, the implementation services are done through us and paid for us. However, the licensing is done through Salesforce. We do not interfere in that. We are capable of helping the customer discuss the deal with Salesforce and try to see if we are able to get a good deal for them. However, this is always on Salesforce side. They are the ones that make the last decision. Okay. Now, let me correct you, Andre. It's a platform as a service, not software as a service.
What is it? What is the difference, if you indulge us?
So platform as a service is actually, they provide you the platform for you to mold it to the way that you work, basically. Okay. When you buy software as a service, I'll take just one example, Pipedrive. Okay. Even though I prefer not to talk about competitors, but let's talk about Pipedrive. Pipedrive has a step 1, step 2, step 3 that is all fixed within their solution. So you buy it and you have to work the way that it is built. Okay. On Salesforce, you do have let's say industry standard processes, but on top of that, you are able to mold it to the way that you work. So if you have, for example, I don't know, an authorization process between closing the lead and converting it to an opportunity, then you can add this process to the bundle. Okay. Does that make sense, Andre?
Yeah, it does. One of the other questions I think lots of people have regarding Salesforce is, am I too small for Salesforce? So there is this feeling that when you're moving, or, as you said, Salesforce has changed a little bit since the early days, right? So, but I guess that lots of people still have this perception that Salesforce is for big or bigger companies. So is Salesforce also nowadays a good solution for smaller companies that are, trying or currently using other software as a service solutions?
Yes. So Salesforce has a series of levels. Let's say there is a starter level. There's also, I think, there is a startup package from Salesforce side. Okay. So let me ask you this again, backwards to you, Andre. How many times did you see companies redoing their website, for example, because they started using a language that is not compatible for evolution or for growing, right?
Yeah.
It happens again and again, and they lose lots of time to do this restructuring and do it everything again. So if you starting from small, using the let's say the startup package of Salesforce, which when you go for a startup package, you don't go through iMovo. That's a claimer, okay? Because we usually work on medium to large customers, okay? So,
Right.
but the suggestion still is there. Start with the Salesforce, because Salesforce can grow with you from beginning to end, and you would not have to do the migration or jump to a different solution throughout the journey, which will cost you lots of money, okay? Because also you were losing all the, you were working in a less efficient way throughout that time. And also it will cause you downtime and different problems when you are migrating, okay?
I understand. So just a quick show of hands. Is anyone currently using Salesforce as their CRM? Here on the, Tiago is, okay. Anyone else? All right, Tiago, I didn't know that. So are you currently happy with the solution, or do you see yourself using, when I mean solution, I mean Salesforce, of course. Do you see yourself using iMovo services in any ways? Which kind of package are you using? Just as a...
Andre, let's take this offline, man. Let's say, I'm joking.
No, just a quick one. Well, I'm using Salesforce. I work for an American company, and well, they manage all of the implementation of the software. I know they have a couple of partners that actually do that kind of I don't know how integration, all that stuff. I know they have partners because it's changing all the time. It's changing, new fields, new way of accessing the dashboards and integrations and all that stuff. So I cannot answer your second question because I'm not the administrator of the tool, so the platform. So, but happy, very, very comprehensive with loads of information. It takes a little bit of time to get used to it, but that's life, right?
Let me just add a little bit from my side, Andre. I used to work in different BPOs, okay, and I've worked with Salesforce as a user many times. There is a big problem there because you know, people think that you can buy Salesforce, you know, from the package, use it, and be as efficient as possible. It doesn't work like that. You need customization. You need a company, whether it is iMovo or other, that will help you will help you customize Salesforce to the way that you work. Because if you change all your processes to the way that the standardized way that Salesforce puts that, or any other solution, then you're using it as a SaaS, okay? And then you are not getting the most out of it. I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times throughout my career, where personally, as a person that hates inefficiencies, okay, I really cannot stand inefficiencies, suggest, you know, improvement, and they are not taking because there is too much politics inside the company, okay? So I'm not really sure if it reflects, you know, in Tiago's case in what he's mentioned, but it happens lots and lots of times that they are not, you know, customizing it in an efficient way, basically.
All right, very well. So thank you so much, Bashara. I think this was really a wonderful presentation, especially if you are not so much into Salesforce and you want to know a little bit more about the platform. If you are considering jumping into CRM and considering Salesforce, obviously, do use the 15% discount on implementation services by iMovo. I guess the best way to do this is just outreach to Mateus or to Bashara. And this presentation is actually being recorded, and it's going to be on the YouTube channel of Productized. Let me also tell you that this Wednesday, we are going to have a special session on the art of pricing and delighting customers and deranging competitors with Chris Melee. So I just sent the link here via chat. And if you allow me, I can also share my own screen just to show you very, very quickly what you can do. So if you want to join this session, just go to this link. It's on Luma, Productized Podcast Price Management. This is going to be also a very interactive session with Chris Melee. He's a managing partner at Software Pricing Partners, and he's going to tell us all about strategies on pricing, the art of pricing, especially for software as a service business. This is a great opportunity if you are working on sales, or if you are a product manager that is responsible for pricing, or if you're just someone that has a business online and he wants to set up your pricing strategy in a way that maximizes profit. So that said, our time's pretty much up. It was a pleasure to have you guys with us, and see you very, very soon. If you are coming from the Wild Code School, if you are one of the students, we'll be hitting the class in 1 or 2 minutes, starting at 6 p.m. local time. So see you very soon, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.